She smiled like it was the happiest day of her life. And maybe it was. It just wasn't because of the diploma. The auditorium echoed with claps and camera flashes, and there she stood, Dr. Madison Keller. My wife. My investment. My mistake. 8 years. That's how long I funded her dream of becoming a surgeon. Late night studying? I made dinner. Overwhelmed by exams? I paid for private tutors. Student loans? She had none, because I covered every dollar. Her tuition, her books, her rent when we were still just dating, even the down payment on her Tesla. That night, she wore a white coat and the same perfume she did on our first date. I noticed, but I also noticed something else. A guy in the crowd. Broad shoulders. Sharp jawline. Standing alone but clapping harder than her family. Wearing a smug grin like he already owned a part of her that I didn't anymore. When she walked off stage, she didn't look at me. She looked at him. That was the moment the floor under my life began to crack. But the truth? The rot started long before that day. I was just too blind to see it. At the after-party, her energy was electric. Friends, professors, cameras, it was all about her. I stood with her parents as she made her rounds. Madison always had a way of making me feel like I was there to support, never to shine. I was the camera guy, the chauffeur, the quiet billionaire husband behind the curtain. Yes, billionaire. You see, 2 months before her graduation, my tech startup, Virion, got an acquisition offer. $660 million. I didn't tell anyone, not even her. Something told me to wait. Call it intuition. Call it a whisper of warning. Either way, I trusted that gut feeling more than I trusted my own wife's eyes at that party. She never asked how my company was doing. Not once during the champagne toast. Not during dinner. Not when we sat alone for a moment under the fairy lights in the garden. Instead, she leaned close and whispered, "Soon, I'll finally be free to build my life the way I've always dreamed." And that was when I knew. She wasn't talking about her career. I didn't flinch. I smiled, kissed her forehead, told her how proud I was. And that night, when she fell asleep in our bed with her back to me, just like she had been doing for the last 6 months, I got up, slipped into my office, and called my lawyer. The divorce papers she was secretly drafting? I'd already seen them. Found the digital file by accident 3 weeks earlier when I borrowed her laptop to check an email. A folder titled Freedom. Inside, her drafted statement of irreconcilable differences. A financial breakdown of everything she thought she'd take. Her new life plan post-separation. A checklist with file for divorce right after graduation, highlighted in pink. She never knew I read it. She never knew I'd seen the text messages between her and Liam, the smug bastard from the ceremony. "Can't wait to be yours fully," she typed. "He's too focused on his little company to even notice." She had no idea that little company had just changed my entire life. So I played along. I sent flowers to her residency acceptance letter. Took her out to celebrate. Gave her nothing but praise. And in the background, I quietly moved every asset, every dollar, every patent, everything into a trust. Under my name. Alone. A week later, on a rainy Tuesday, she finally filed. And that's when the panic began. The email came first, her lawyer, someone I didn't recognize, sending a formal notice that Madison Keller was filing for divorce on the grounds of emotional neglect and irreconcilable differences. She didn't even have the courage to look me in the eye. I sat at my kitchen island, sipping black coffee in silence as I read it. I didn't feel pain. I didn't feel rage. Just confirmation. She thought she was 2 steps ahead. Poor girl didn't realize the game had already ended. That night, she came home late. Makeup flawless. Lingerie under her coat, I could tell. Not for me, though. It hadn't been for a while. She walked into the kitchen like nothing happened. Like the last 8 years were a temporary loan I wouldn't be repaid for. "I need to talk to you," she said, sliding her phone into her purse. "It's about us." I nodded slowly. "Let me guess, you're not happy." She blinked. That threw her off. "I just feel like we've grown apart," she began, voice all fake concern. "You've changed. You don't support me emotionally anymore. You've been distant." "Did I feel distant when I paid your tuition?" I asked, watching her freeze. "When I sold my car so you wouldn't have to take student loans. When I skipped every vacation for 4 years so you could study in peace." Her mouth opened. Nothing came out. For once. She tried to recover. "This isn't about money, Jason. This is about my independence. I need to be free to explore who I really am." I leaned forward, calm. "And does Liam help you explore that?" She turned white. I've never seen someone's confidence drain so fast. It was beautiful, in a dark, poetic way. She tried to speak, but the words stumbled. W who? You really think I don't know? I laughed. You think I'm some clueless idiot who doesn't notice when his wife lies about working night shifts but comes home smelling like a stranger's cologne? Her face twisted. Not in shame. In anger. The way a child gets mad when caught red-handed. You went through my stuff? No. You left it open. Like everything else you're sloppy about. Now the claws came out. I've wasted the best years of my life trying to be your perfect wife. She snapped. You think money makes you untouchable? You're boring, Jason. You've always been boring. I want passion. I want a man who makes me feel alive. I stood still, watching her unravel. She kept going. You can keep your money. I don't care. I have my degree now. I have options. I'm not scared to be alone. I almost pitied her. Because 2 days later, her attorney emailed mine. And reality hit her like a freight train. She wasn't entitled to a dime. The trust was airtight. The assets she listed in her divorce claim? Already moved. The mansion she thought she'd win? Technically owned by the foundation under my mother's name. The stock she believed she'd cash out? Liquidated and relocated. She called me 23 times in one night. The same phone that had gone silent every time I texted her at the hospital now wouldn't stop vibrating. I never picked up. The last voicemail she left? Jason, please. We need to talk. I didn't mean for it to go this far. I made a mistake. We can fix this, I swear. Just call me back, okay? Please. But I was done playing the fool. I let her sit in that silence she once weaponized against me. I had made my decision. And it was just the beginning. I saw her in the cafe 2 weeks later. She didn't see me at first. Her back was to the window. She looked smaller now. No makeup. Hair tied in a loose, messy bun that screamed, I didn't sleep. A far cry from the flawless doctor wife she pretended to be. Across from her sat Liam. He leaned in, talking fast, hands animated. She just stared at her coffee like it could save her. I walked past the glass, slow and deliberate. She looked up. Her eyes met mine. I didn't stop. Didn't nod. Just kept walking. That moment, the flicker of panic, the way her lips parted like she wanted to shout my name, the tension in her shoulders, I burned it into my memory. That was my closure. I had given this woman 8 years of my life, and in return, she gave me betrayal wrapped in entitlement. The moment she became a doctor, she tried to cut the leash she thought she was tied to. She never realized I wasn't the leash. I was the spine holding her life together. That night, I got a call from her sister, Rachel. We'd always been cordial, never close. Jason, she's not doing well. I'm aware, I said flatly. She said you ruined her. That you destroyed her reputation. I laughed once. Low? Funny. I was thinking the same thing about her. Look, I don't know everything that happened, Rachel continued, but she's talking about leaving the country. She thinks everyone's laughing at her. Maybe they are. Are you really not going to talk to her? She made her choices. Now she can live with them. There was a long silence. Then Rachel whispered, she was jealous of you, you know. All those years, she felt like she was the underdog in the marriage. That she had to prove herself. By screwing another man behind my back? I shot back. I didn't say she was right, Rachel said. Just that she's broken now. She broke herself, I said. I just stopped catching the pieces. I hung up. That weekend, I took a flight to Monaco. Virion's new board was celebrating our acquisition, and for once, I didn't feel like a man dragging a ghost behind him. I laughed for real. I toasted with real friends. I slept soundly. For the first time in years, I wasn't second-guessing what lie I'd wake up to. A month later, my lawyer forwarded a desperate letter Madison had written. It was a full 3 pages, typed. Rambling apologies, twisted justifications, a plea for forgiveness wrapped in passive-aggressive blame. She tried to paint herself as a woman who got lost, who made mistakes, who let ambition cloud love. I never responded. I don't believe in ghosts, but I know what it feels like to live with one. And I wasn't about to let her haunt me again. She thought she could trade up. She thought the world owed her something because she wore a white coat and knew how to pronounce medical terms I couldn't. What she didn't understand was simple. You don't bite the hand that built your throne. And when you do, don't be surprised when the kingdom burns quietly beneath your feet. It had been 3 months since the papers were finalized. 3 months since she walked into that courtroom in her finest outfit, hoping to still play the role of the graceful, wronged woman, and walked out pale, defeated, humiliated. Her plan to leave me right after graduation with half of everything? Gone. Just like her smile when the judge told her that the assets were legally unreachable. I watched her crumble without a word. She didn't even look at me as she walked past, just clutched her handbag like it was the last piece of control she had left. I didn't follow her. I didn't say a thing. I just walked out the opposite door and stepped into a new life where I wasn't just funding someone else's dreams while they plotted my downfall behind my back. It was strange at first, being alone. Not lonely, just alone. There's a difference. You see, when someone spends years subtly chipping away at your self-worth, you start believing you're the problem. You ignore the cold bed, the unexplained nights, the locked phone, the way your name disappears from her lips when she's around certain friends. You convince yourself it's just stress, just residency, just pressure, just life. It wasn't life. It was betrayal with perfect teeth and an expensive education. I spent that summer in silence, not the bitter, heavy kind she used against me, but real silence. Healing silence. Mornings without tension. Nights without fake love yous. No more lies about overnight shifts that ended at 2 a.m. with a wrinkled blouse and no explanation. No more dinners where she scrolled her phone while I tried to fill the space. I had my company, my team, my peace. And the best part? I had my dignity back. She, on the other hand, had burned bridges she didn't even know she was crossing. I started hearing things from mutual acquaintances, how the hospital staff didn't quite trust her, how Liam ghosted her after the lawsuit news went public, how she moved back in with her parents temporarily, how she cried in the locker room during shifts. A part of me expected to feel something, maybe satisfaction, maybe even guilt, but I didn't. I felt nothing, because the woman I married no longer existed. She was replaced by someone who saw me as a stepping stone, a bank account with a wedding band, someone who truly believed she could orchestrate a divorce like a chess move and walk away wearing both the crown and the check. She underestimated one thing. I don't bluff. I had spent a decade building a future for both of us. But the moment I saw that folder labeled freedom, I realized she had spent just as long building her exit. And so, I built mine quieter, sharper, smarter. No explosions. No drama. Just a final move she never saw coming. And when her world collapsed, I didn't lift a finger. She wanted freedom. I gave her silence. 6 months after the divorce, she showed up at my office. Unannounced. I was in the middle of reviewing a new round of acquisitions when my assistant buzzed in. "Jason, there's a woman here. Says her name is Madison Keller. Do you want me to tell her you're in a meeting?" I stared at the glass wall across from me. The skyline looked like it always did, bright, distant, untouchable. I thought about telling her to send Madison away, but something in me wanted to see what rock bottom looked like in designer heels. Send her in. She walked in slower than usual, less of that entitled sway in her hips. Eyes darker, heavier. She didn't wear her ring, of course not, but she did wear shame like makeup. Subtle, but layered. I didn't offer her a seat. "I didn't come to fight," she said quietly. I need to talk to you." I waited. I gave her nothing. She folded her arms, like she was trying to protect herself from the chill that wasn't there. "I know I handled things terribly. I know I hurt you. And I don't expect forgiveness, Jason." But her voice cracked just enough to sound real. I thought I was winning. I thought I'd step into this new chapter and feel powerful, independent. But everything I thought I wanted, it all turned into smoke. Still, I said nothing. "You don't even care, do you?" she asked, smiling bitterly. "You don't hate me. You don't miss me. You just moved on." I finally looked at her. "Madison," I said slowly, "I didn't move on. I moved up. There's a difference." She looked like she'd been slapped. "You were supposed to be my partner," I continued. "But you treated me like your safety net. Like I was holding you back. You gambled your marriage for a fantasy, and now you're surprised that fantasy doesn't pay the bills." Her eyes watered, but I didn't flinch. I had seen her cry before, usually after a lie unraveled. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "No, you're not," I said. "You're just sorry you lost." She stepped forward. "Please, just have dinner with me. One conversation. I want to show you I've changed." I chuckled. Cold. Dry. Final. "You didn't come here for closure. You came here because the world stopped giving you what I used to hand you freely." She dropped her eyes. I walked to the door and opened it. "This office isn't your redemption arc, Madison. It's the result of a life I built while you schemed behind my back. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a meeting with people who actually respect me." She walked out without another word. And as the door clicked shut behind her, I felt it. Peace. Not the kind that's quiet. The kind that's earned. The kind that comes after you've been through hell, seen the devil in heels and lipstick, and come out smarter, sharper, and stronger than before. She tried to break me. She ended up freeing me. A year passed. I'd almost forgotten the sound of her voice. The way she used to weaponize silence. The exhausting tightrope of never being good enough for a woman who never really wanted me, just what I could give her. Now I woke up to sunlight on the Italian coast, not cold shoulders in a sterile bedroom. I dined with people who built empires instead of tearing down their partners. I dated freely, without suspicion shadowing every laugh or glance. And still, her name showed up. Articles started circulating, whispers about a malpractice investigation, a patient misdiagnosed, a supervisor questioning her judgment. No charges yet, but reputations don't wait for courtrooms. It made sense. When someone builds a life on lies, eventually the cracks reach the foundation. My phone buzzed one morning. An unknown number. I let it ring. Then a voicemail. I listened. Jason, it's me. I know you don't owe me anything, and I don't deserve your time. But I don't know who else to call. I'm not okay. I don't have anyone left. I think about everything, every day. About you. About how I destroyed the only person who ever truly believed in me. Please, if you could just call me back, even just once. I sat there for a while, staring at the waves. Then I deleted the message. There was nothing left to say. She chose this path, brick by selfish brick. I was just the casualty she thought would stay buried. Instead, I became a monument. And she? She became a cautionary tale told in whispers behind scrub rooms and closed doors. My assistant entered my office later that day, carrying the quarterly reports. She paused. You okay? Yeah, I said, glancing at the skyline. I am. I meant it. There's a strange beauty in rebuilding yourself from the ashes someone else tried to bury you in. You learn patience, precision. You learn that revenge doesn't always look like fire. It can look like silence, like success, like never looking back. She thought she could break me, but all she did was cut the chains I never realized were choking me. 2 years. That's how long it took before I saw her name trending. Not for some medical breakthrough. Not for some prestigious fellowship. No, Madison Keller was in the headlines for something far more predictable. Disgraced surgeon faces license suspension amidst allegations of fraud and professional misconduct. The article was cold, clinical. Just like her. It listed details of falsified patient records, whispers of unapproved prescriptions, rumors of procedures billed but never performed. And at the bottom, a single quote from someone at the hospital. She always wanted to climb too fast. She thought charm could replace integrity. I didn't gloat. I didn't laugh. I didn't send it to anyone. I just saved the article and filed it away. She had done exactly what I expected. She self-destructed. Not because I sabotaged her. I didn't have to. Her ego did the job perfectly. The same ego that convinced her she could outsmart me, outmaneuver the world, and still be loved. I did hear, through someone in legal, that she tried to sue the hospital. Claimed discrimination, retaliation. All the usual plays. None of them stuck. The system didn't protect her this time. She went quiet after that. No social media. No LinkedIn updates. No wedding ring, obviously. And Liam? Gone. Apparently, he bailed the moment the investigation started. Turns out, her real man didn't stick around when things got real. And me? I was living in Barcelona by then. A villa by the coast. My mornings filled with espresso and strategy calls, my nights with peace. Actual peace, not the fake, smothered calm I used to lie to myself about. One evening, I got an envelope forwarded to my new address. No name on the return, just a handwritten label. Inside was a letter and a photo. The letter was short. Just her handwriting, still neat, still precise. I was wrong. About everything. I don't want your forgiveness. I just want you to know I finally understand what I lost. You were never the fool, Jason. I was. And I'll carry that until my last breath. The photo was of us. From years ago. At some fundraiser. She was laughing into my shoulder. I was smiling at her like I meant it. I stared at it for a long time. Then I lit a match and watched it curl into blackened edges. That chapter was over. Not because she apologized. Not because justice found her. But because I had finally stopped waiting for either. Some stories don't end with revenge or romance. Some just end with freedom. And mine had finally begun. She was a storm I once stood in, thinking if I just held on long enough, I'd make it to sunlight. But storms don't love you. They tear through you. And if you survive, it's not because of them, it's in spite of them. I never responded to the letter. Not because I didn't believe she meant it, but because I didn't need it anymore. I used to think closure came from words, from apologies, from confessions. But closure doesn't come from the one who broke you. It comes the moment you stop letting their shadow reach your light. The house we built together? Sold. Her name? Erased from everything. My name? On the cover of a book now, a memoir, actually. About startups, risk, and how the worst betrayal I ever faced turned into the best decision I never planned. It hit #1 on release day. The dedication was one sentence: to the lie that set me free. I still get emails from men who've read it. Strangers who saw pieces of themselves in my story. Men who gave everything to someone who gave nothing back. They always ask me the same thing. How do you survive it? Here's what I tell them. You don't survive betrayal by fighting for the past. You survive it by building something so powerful in the aftermath, they regret ever letting go of you. You don't need revenge. You don't need her to cry. You don't even need her to fall. You just need to rise. That's what I did. And when people ask me about Madison Keller now, I smile and say, she was a lesson, not a loss.